And we're gonna go right into our board meeting. And we're going to,
Mrs. Valenzuela, can I have just a minute to
yes.
get the agenda up?
Yes, ma'am.
I'm just gonna grab my readers.
Your readers?
I'm squinting.
Oh, it's a club, okay.
We'll wait till Jess comes back and then we'll start. I know.
You know, my $45,000 knee surgery only cost me $328. Yeah, yeah, I've got the, one of the advantages.
Okay, we're going to call this meeting to order. And can I have the future chefs come up so they can lead the pledge? And Miss Tanya, would you come with them? What's your face? Tanya, do you have, is your other cohort with you? Just you?
Just me.
Just you.
Me today.
Okay. These are our future chefs. Would you like to go ahead and start?
Lead us in
Lead us in the pledge?
the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, we are so lucky to have our future chefs. Just please stay here. Thank you. Okay, honey, can you tell us your name and what you made? Oh, yes. And what school do you go to?
Oak Creek.
Okay.
My name is Addie. I made banana pancakes and I go to Oak Creek.
All right.
My name is Faye. I made broccoli soup and I go to Cottonwood Community School.
Thank you. Now, Miss Tanya, can you tell us who was the winner?
We actually do have our winner tonight with
good.
us, and this is Miss Adeline. She prepared her very popular banana pancakes.
And you didn't bring us any.
we tried to get her to bring samples.
And we would like to thank you, Tanya, for putting this on, and we would like to thank you for participating. And maybe you can participate again next year. And before we have you go sit down, would the parents, any of the parents of these students that are here, would you please stand up so we can thank you?
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Todd. Thank you, girls. Okay. Okay, Miss Winters, do we have any call to the public?
President Valenzuela, we do not have anyone for a call to the public this evening.
Okay. This is an action item. It's a consent agenda item with board policy. The item that's on the agenda marked with the, okay. So approval of the consent agenda items. Do I have a motion to approve the consent agenda items?
I so move to approve the consent agenda.
I will second that.
All in favor? Aye.
Okay, I'm going to send it for a vote.
I know. She always does. Then I have to find it. Okay. Now we are already down to 107.
Did we have a vote from Mr. Teal, who's on the phone with us?
I didn't hear anything.
Yeah, I was hoping to get mine to come through electronically, but it doesn't look like it did.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you, Jack. Oh. Okay. Ms. Vocca, Superintendent's report.
So let me go up one. I'm ahead of myself here. So our Superintendent Advisory Committee, I'd love to thank all those who are on that. They've helped us sort through so many things this year, with the newest thing being the insurance recommendation and issue, and they have come through every time. They've been strong leaders, and I'm just so grateful to have a group of people that want to work to make the school district better for everybody. So they've just been an amazing group of people to bounce ideas off of, to give feedback, and I value their input and take their recommendation because they're a very thoughtful group that ask a lot of questions, and that's exactly what I need to help make some of these decisions. So those staff members that are on Superintendent Advisory are amazing, and I thank them publicly every time. Another thing, we are in full testing mode. So we are, I believe, finishing up AZ-Sci, and we're on to AASA writing is the next thing, and then we'll be moving into reading and math. So always an exciting time, April.
I know.
Long, windy, cold month as well. So hopefully we can get through it quickly.
Okay. Tag you're it again, Mrs. Vocca. 108.
All right. So one of the best, most fantastic things about March is future chefs. So if I can have the future chefs come up one more time, we'd like, oh, that's okay. I still want to recognize them, and then I'll send it with their campus administrator. We had our winner, Adeline McKean, for her banana, it says the judges went bananas over her banana pancakes. And I'm going to tell you, I was a judge, and they were pretty good. We had Emma, is it Thedford? Emma Thedford had chicken tacos, which were very good as well. And she was from OCS. Jimena Rivera, I believe, was our MVP rate contestant, and she had lasagna, which everyone loves lasagna, I think. I love it. Mason Courtney from DDB. Mason had sliders, and it was mac and cheese with pulled pork. And he had a good barbecue sauce that is actually pretty popular. It's in every store. And then we had Miss Faye Alinsky, who I believe was in a very close second. Like very close second with broccoli soup. And I like broccoli and I like soup. So it was a wonderful combo for me. So I'd like to thank Tanya for this wonderful program that gives our students a chance to highlight their talents in the kitchen. And I'm excited to see what comes of them next year. So I guess we can give them a round of applause, even though they're not here. It's always worth it. Let's get all of this. Come over here. Just gonna move this out. I don't think I need this. It's right there in front, Tammy. All right, I'm gonna put my readers on now because I'm reading from here. And hopefully I don't mispronounce anyone's name. I've tried 3 times to read these, and I think I got it. And they're all pretty easy, actually. So every year we have design and ad. And this year, this one was specifically, was this the Valentine's Day one, Tricia? Yes. It was a Valentine's Day ad. We have cards that come in the winter time around the holidays. There is always something to design. And we toss it out to each school. And they kind of, and then teachers take what they want from it, and some are really great about design and ad, and some are just like, I don't know. This year, I think MVP won that prize as far as taking it and running with it, and we actually have many people who were in the newspaper for our design and ad. So we had two best in class. Can we have Callie White and Emma Watts come up? Hello. Emma, Callie, hello. I'd like to congratulate these two ladies for an excellent design. I don't know if you saw them, but they were in the newspaper. So if we can have Callie and then Emma. And can I get a picture with you? Oh, thank you.
No, we're just gonna have them stay there.
Yes.
We'll have to stay there. Wonderful.
Okay, wait right here. You guys can wait right there. Then we'll get a picture of everybody. Some other newspaper-worthy ones. We have Evelyn Root. Is Evelyn here this evening? Perfect. Is it Ronan Caldwell? Is that Ronan?
Yeah.
Evelyn, nice to meet you. For you, we have Dakota Silva. Hey, Dakota. Nice to meet you. Anna Beth Welsh. Anna Beth. She here this evening? Well, let's give her a round of applause. Well, this will go with Miss Langley. We have Aubrey Westbrook. Aubrey's here. I saw. Nice to meet you, Aubrey. How are you? All right, and we have Grayson Green. Is Grayson here this evening? Oh. Do you have an older brother who loves to be on the stage? Great, Willy Wonka? Nice to meet you, Grayson. Here you go. Let's give them all a round of applause. And if they can line up here. And I'm guessing, is there someone from Miss Azuna's class here? Raise your hand. I see your teacher out here. That's why I was asking. All right, can I get a picture with all of you? Yeah? Is that okay? All right. Nice. Where do you want us?
We'll just have them come up here right on the step in front of the board.
Right here? Okay. How about you all stand in front of me? This is great. This is the only time I'm not in the front row.
Big smiles, everybody.
Thank you, girls and boys. This is a great artist. Now, can we have the parents please stand up for these children so we can thank you? Thank you very much. All right. Now we're going to go down to 109, One Great Thing, and we're going to start with Mrs. Romero. Oh. We'll pass it down that way, and then I'll go to Nicole. I'll just come back up. Whatever's easier.
Thank you, families, for coming and supporting your children
Thank
tonight.
you.
We appreciate you very much.
Thank you. I don't know what he's somewhere. He must be at home. Okay, Amy.
So good evening. I just wanted to give them a little chance
Yeah,
to
I know.
exit before I got the new microphone. So over at CES, over at Verde Tech, we did have our second set of student-led conferences. They did a very nice job. It wasn't as well attended as we would have liked because that was the night with the crazy rain. So we didn't get as many parents there as we did the first semester, but lots of parents still came nonetheless. That same day, we also had our end of quarter barbecue. Our students processed 5 chickens, and they went through the whole process of taking the feathers off, getting the gizzards out, I think that's what you call them, and cooking them, shredding the meat, and then the whole school had a barbecue at the end of the semester, or the quarter, excuse me. At Mariposa Preschool, Mrs. Catalano got a Happy Futures grant for some new drums, so they've been having drumming lessons from Matthew Amato. And then finally, the algebra class celebrated Pi Day, and they went over to the Vortex, and they found things that were circular, and they had a contest to see who could measure and get the closest to pi. And then they also ate a lot of pie. And they had extra pie that they brought to the office. So I celebrated Pi Day too.
Great. Thank you. Okay, Mrs. Barrier?
Yes. We got to be fortunate enough to be the ones who hosted the Future Chef, so that was fun. I got to be one of the judges this year, and it was cool to see all of them cooking in the background, and they were doing some games prior to that and getting set up for that. And we had a couple of clubs that got to see their preparation, including our cooking club, so that was exciting for them to see it in action. And then we've started our testing. Things are going really smooth, and I think teachers have really prepared them, and they're working really hard.
Thank you. Mrs. Wacker?
All right, thank you. So again, we've started testing too. It is going really smooth. We're done with science, and we are done with oral reading fluency, and we're moving on to writing tomorrow. Shelley Zale, Ms. Zale reached out to many community members, asking them for donations so that we could purchase, for every student that reaches their goal during testing, for each test, they get a raffle ticket. And at the end of the testing session, I think it's April 28th, 24th, one of those days, we are doing a huge campus celebration. We're done, woohoo. And we were able to collect over $2,000 actually. It was $1,000 when I put this in, but now it's over $2,000 from the community, just different businesses, Jackson Hewitt, Southwest Tank and Steel, Taylor Waste, Taylor Sons and Hauling. I mean, just the great community that we serve, of course, that donated. And so we will be purchasing raffle prizes. Our PTO even reached out and bought some fair passes into it. We buy a mountain bike for every grade level to raffle off, AirPods, wireless speakers, laptops, different things. And so we'll be doing that at the end. So thank you to the community members who donated. And then our 8th graders had their annual spring break trip to Washington, D.C. and New York, and it was really successful. They had a great time. The weather was beautiful, and it was definitely a once-in-a-lifetime experience for a lot of our students who have never even been on a plane. So it was a great trip.
Thank you. Mrs. Langley?
All right. We had over spring break, our PTA voted to pay for all of our window tintings. We loved the window tintings when the district did that for the front of our school over Christmas break. And so as soon as we got back, all the teachers said, well, we want the rest of them done. We don't, because we have a lot of sun that comes in the back, and just for safety, and that was our main concern, was just window coverings are not the greatest on the inside, and rather than, replacing all of those, doing the window tinting on the outside so no one can see in. So Mrs. Vocca got to come through today and walk through and look at it, and she was peering through windows. She's like, I can't see anything in there. So it's really nice. It makes for a really, it feels a little more secure. It's a nice addition. A bunch of our students also went on the trip with CCS to DC, and then we also had our 6th graders over spring break go to Universal Studios. So everybody made their trips and got back safely, and that feels good as a principal to be able to say, okay, phew, that's done. And they're all safe, so that's all that matters.
Good.
So
that
was it.
Thank you. Mrs. Tatum?
Yeah, last Thursday we had our PTO Ag Bingo Night, and we raised the most. This is, I think, the 3rd annual that we've done, and we raised over $1,500 that goes straight to our ag program. So the most we've raised so far. We had over 50 families come, lots of raffle prizes, a lot of prizes for winning bingo, lunch with Miss Tatum, lunch with Miss Ledden, bring a stuffy to school, all stuff that the kids get really excited about. So that was really successful and a lot of fun. And I was really excited that the future chef came from Oak Creek this year. So that was my other good news.
Great, thank you. Oh, okay. Now we're on 201, and this is our guest speaker, Adam Keef, and he's going to speak on the point of sale system with Clover Go.
President Valenzuela, our guest speaker didn't show up this evening.
Oh, okay.
So Mrs. Jansen will give an update on that in her monthly financial report.
Okay, then we'll skip to 301. Okay, Ms. Woodward, that's you.
All right, thank you, President Valenzuela. We have come back around to the time in the year where we develop our goals for next school year. That is our site integrated action plan at the site level, and then also our district integrated action plan. That is a requirement from ADE, and that is due to federal Title I dollars that come into our schools, nearly $500,000 that we use to support our interventions in our MTSS system. So as part of a requirement for receiving that funding, we have to go through a process of evaluating our student achievement, setting goals, and then following through on action steps. So all of our site principals have been busy February through April. This week their plans are due to me so that we can then come together and create our district plan. They have been evaluating data, collecting survey information from staff, from families, looking at graphs and information so that they can set their goals and action steps for next year. I have linked in their 24-25 plans, and then the CNA questions, which is the comprehensive needs assessment that guides these goals and action steps. And then I also gave to you a copy of Oak Creek's, because I accidentally linked in the CCS plan twice. So you have that one in front of you. So they are currently finishing up those plans. And we will come together on May 29th as a district, and we will evaluate state assessment data, and then we will update all student achievement goals based on our end of the year testing for state and for our benchmark testing with our K2 students through FastBridge. And then additionally, I have linked in our Cognia, that is our accreditation for the district, our Cognia family and parent survey results, as well as our educator results district-wide. Amy Romero heads up our Cognia accreditation for the district, and so she sent out these surveys, and I'm actually going to pass it over to Amy for just a moment so that she can share some of the highlights on our parent surveys and our educator surveys from 23-24 to 24-25.
Thank you, Jamie. So Cognia is the organization with whom we earn our accreditation. We are looking at a mid-cycle meeting coming up next year. I will be doing a check-in meeting next week with our supervisor for that program. So we know what we need to do going forward, but every year we offer these surveys out to the parents and the staff and to the students, and we look at those results and we look for trends. So the first survey, the family survey, highlights a consistently positive perception of the school community. So as we look between the years, we see that it is consistent and it's positive. Families consistently describe the staff as respectful, welcoming, and supportive, and they believe that their students are engaged and collaborative, and that their students are being urged to think critically. And then on the staff survey, again, it highlights a consistent positive school culture, and the strengths that they find in the survey are in collaboration and relationship building. There is a little room for improvement in the area of personalized instruction and creating future-ready learning experiences, and those would be transferable skills such as digital literacy and problem solving. So those are the areas that we could improve in. But overall, our data shows a stable and supportive environment.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay.
And then just quickly to close out, as everyone has mentioned, we are in the midst of state testing. Thank you to Amy Romero and her SEI specialists at each site who have completed our Azella testing for our English language learners. And then as Superintendent Vocca noted, we have just completed AZ-SCI for our 5th and 8th grade, and then our 11th grade is also, Amy, under the same time frame, or will they take AZ-SCI next week? And then we will also be heading into ACT Aspire and ACT as well. We've done training for all of these. That is for our high school students. ACT Aspire is for 9th grade. ACT is for our 11th graders as well. We also completed and submitted a grant to Arizona K-12 for continuation of our district mentors. So that was submitted in mid-February. We hope to hear back by the beginning of May for $150,000. And then also in February, we've continued on. UDL is near their culmination. How many sessions do we have left at MVP for UDL? One more session, and then we'll have the entire district trained in universal design for learning practices, which has been a district initiative. Continuing on with the K-5 literacy endorsement, we have some educators district-wide that are still completing their letters training for science of reading. We also had a great showing at the ADE U of A CRR National or Arizona Educator Math Appreciation Day. This was a virtual and a live full day math, all things math, trainings, breakout sessions. And we had our largest showing from Cottonwood Community School. So thank you to the teachers that promote it at Cottonwood Community School. And then we are continuing on with our Project Momentum initiatives and trainings. And we have just been awarded Project Momentum for next year as well. The grant actually opened on Tuesday. And so we will be renewing our efforts and funding for Project Momentum for next year as well.
Thank you.
I have one question.
Okay, yes.
Yep. Ms. Woodward, I just had one question. You mentioned that you all are meeting like late in May. It sounds like after students are gone.
Correct.
And you're setting goals for the next year. Do you have test results is that what you said? You'll have the test results
yes,
already?
Yes. So
oh, wow. Okay.
We actually receive our 3rd grade. It's a state requirement that before 3rd graders leave for the year, those test results are shared with the sites because we're held to move on when reading, and there's a retention requirement with that. And then we will receive all 4 through 8 and 9 through 11 by May 23rd, which is about the last day of school or just after the last day of school. So then we will come together as a district. As far as site leadership teams, principals will be involved, district administrators. We will come through and we will evaluate the data, look for trends, patterns, and then we'll start to build out some goals, next steps for next year. So that's a wonderful thing that has actually sped up from the state. It used to be that we were receiving data sometimes mid-June, sometimes into the first part of July. So it's great that we have that data, and then we can start to goal set and action plan right away.
That's great. Thank you.
I needed to ask you, if you're getting the data by the 23rd, when do we let the parents know?
Great question as well. So we will then receive our reports from families, for families, typically mid-June. We don't typically release individual reports until the start of the school year. So some schools will share that out at back-to-school conferences, individual reports just before the school starts, and some will share that out during the September parent conferences as they're sharing goals for the next year as well. Parents also have the option to log in. There's actually a state reporting portal that parents can log into, but paper reports are typically given coming into that next year, with the exception of our 8th graders that are exiting. Those are mailed home to families, and then they are also passed on through their cumulative folders to their high school.
Thank you. Okay. All right, Mr. Dalton.
All righty. I'm going to start with CCS. We have a fence project planned. We paid the deposits. Materials are on order. Nothing scheduled yet. It all depends on how quick they get everything in. But they did say they guaranteed it will be done by the end of June. So CES. Skunk removal is ongoing. We have trapped and relocated 3 of them now. We've had to take a little break here with it, but hopefully we can kick it back into gear and
That's
catch some more
always been a
skunks.
problem.
The guys are thinking of starting up a side business. On the north side of the campus, we're going to be doing a survey project out there for Rich Stambrov's greenhouse project, Andy Spangler's welding shop project. And it would allow us to bump our fence out to our actual property line on that side of the property. We're pretty far short where the current fence is from where our actual property line is. So I've been working on that as well. Water line repair, or replacement really. It's in the SFOB, waiting for approval. So as soon as I get that, I can get the plumbing company scheduled. It'll probably be sometime this summer, just due to the nature of the project. We'll have to have water off for a bit. At DDB, looking into doing a flooring project, maybe by this summer. Just found out that we can get SFB funds for that. They don't pay for vinyl materials, but they will pay for polished concrete. So we're looking at probably doing polished concrete all through the hallways and lobby, that big front area. And they will pay for that. And then eventually look at classrooms too. I know the carpet in a lot of classrooms is in pretty bad shape there. I have some information I need to dig up on that to submit those projects. Drainage project update out there with Wilson and Company. They had surveyors out and locators out, located all utilities, punching in all that information into their program. They'll be coming out to doing some soil samples, and then hopefully we'll be looking at getting some contractors bidding on the project once Wilson and Company gets all of that data. Wilson and Company will be involved in helping choose the contractors. They'll be doing construction oversight and everything once we get rolling on that. They were hoping by this summer. It's getting kind of tight. Interior water valve replacement. I got SFB funding for that. I'm just waiting for final approval to get the plumber scheduled to replace all of the interior valves. That will be very, very helpful to the maintenance guys when they have to do any plumbing repairs. Instead of turning off the main water, we can turn off the valves that were supposed to be there. Septic update. This is the bane of my existence right now. Matt Westcott with City of Cottonwood has been very, very good. He's like their lead guy out there for utilities. He's brought their truck out a few times to try to help us out and has been a really good resource for information. Still not sure what's going on. I did just get emergency funding today for having the septic company come out and pump our tanks. About every other day, we got to pump about 2,700 gallons out of our tanks to keep things from backing up and the septic from overflowing. So that's good for us because it was starting to get pretty expensive. We're thinking now that there's a clog in the outlet pipe. We have an 8-inch outlet that comes out of the tank. It's either clogged up or the leach fields aren't working anymore. And I'm looking at contractors now that can come in and figure out exactly what's going on. And there's a project, an SFB project started for that as well now too. So hopefully we can come to the bottom of that, but at least we have some financial support from the SFB for keeping those tanks pumped down. We hired a new custodian for the night shift out at DDB, so now we're fully staffed for the first time for a while. He seems to be fitting in pretty good, so we're pretty excited about that, and I'm sure DDB is probably happy. MVP, kind of the same thing as CCS. We got a fence and gate replacement project going. We paid the down payments. Don't have it scheduled yet. Got to wait until we get materials in and stuff, get a little closer. But they said they'll have it done by the end of June. Oak Creek, well site update. Over spring break, we pulled the submersible and everything out and had the well site evaluated. We got good news and bad news. Good news is the water table has not really changed. Our water level's good out there at the depth that we're at. Bad news, submersible pump that we pulled out, they didn't feel comfortable putting back in because it was pretty deteriorated. I got SFB funding to replace that. They put it back in before spring break ended. But when they ran the camera down, the well casing's very corroded and it's plugged up pretty good. They don't feel comfortable cleaning it or doing anything or trying to sleeve it or anything because they're afraid it might collapse. So I submitted a project for emergency well replacement with SFB, and it initially got approved. I'm waiting for the quote from KP Ventures, and once I get that, I'll submit that and see probably this summer. We can't shut the water down for that long. We might be able to start drilling it, though. I don't know how this is all going to go yet. Throughout the district, I'm still trying to identify fencing projects, prioritizing things, looking into next fiscal year for more fencing projects. I don't know what we'll have for budget-wise on those projects. And then just identifying more SFB projects wherever I can. Starting to kind of get the hang of it better now. And there's a lot of things that we can do. And I have really developed my relationship with Tajma, our liaison down there. And she's been great working with us. Any questions? I haven't forgot about your sign.
You knew I was going to nail you.
I've been a little distracted, but I haven't forgot about it.
Okay. As long as you have it in mind. Okay. All right. Now we're going to go to 501. Ms. Jansen?
Adam couldn't be here today, but we have gotten most of our accounts moved over to National Bank. We've got checks and deposit slips and all that ordered. So this is just a little bit of information on the Go Clover. And this is going to just give a little bit of breakdown on cost and stuff. Right now with Red Track, we pay about $35 a month for that service. This service is $25. So there is savings there.
Turn your mic on.
So there is savings there every month. And then it did break it down, I believe, on what those fees look like, the processing fees kind of by the type of credit card it is. So the Go Clover is like 0.15 cents per transaction. We had talked about absorbing those fees so that parents would be more apt to use it, looking at possibly going to more of a cashless system, getting away from bounced checks. They do have point-of-sale systems also that we could purchase and put at our campuses that you can tap your card or insert for the chip. They do the QR coding, and they are the merchant for National Bank. So if you do want more information, I can get with Adam and actually get a presentation. His son had baseball practice tonight, so he couldn't make the meeting. Other than that, we're going to start a revised budget. Everything's looking good there. There won't be significant changes on the budget. And I think that can lead us down to our next discussion point.
Okay. So basically, on Clover, we're just putting all of our accounts in one bank.
Well, that's just with National Bank.
National Bank.
With this Go Clover, it is just a payment system.
Payment system for the parents.
Right, for online payments.
So it's easy. Okay.
Is there
You said that there may be an option to have point of sale at each school, I'm
Yes.
assuming. Is there a cost for setting those units up? Do we have to
So-
pay for those to do that? Or is that something you're just thinking about right now? We might look at it down the road.
It's something we're just thinking about.
Yeah.
There's all kinds of options. There's Bluetooth
Right now, it'll
for
be a
your
link
phone.
online, right?
Right now, it's a link online
get
or a
you.
QR code
Uh-huh.
sitting right there that people can scan with their phone.
I get you. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Cost savings.
Yeah.
Okay. 502. You're up again, Ms. Jensen. 502. Let's separate from, and this is a possible action item.
Correct, and I think Barb Amato already went over everything. At this point, we are just asking to separate from Kairos. And that was the first one, and then the second one would be enter a contract with GBS. So the first one would be a vote to separate from Kairos.
Okay, do I have a motion, so we can separate from Kairos?
I'll make a motion that we separate from Kyle's.
All in favor? Aye. Okay, it's gonna come up. Jack, did you hear?
I sure did. I'll see if it comes through electronically.
Okay,
And it did, so yes.
okay.
Oh, there it is. There we go.
Is he at a party?
Okay. Okay. Now,
I'm using it, thank you, sorry.
yeah, you're fine. Now we're on 503, a possible action item to enter into contract with GBS and Motive Health for insurance coverage for the district employees for 25-26 school year. Do I have a motion? Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Jack, gonna send yours? Is he on there?
You can hear, I think.
Okay.
I got a group out in front of me, trying to stay muted.
Oh, okay, then we're going to go zip, 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 zip. Now we're on 703, and this is a possible action item. It's an information discussion and possible action item to consider, discuss, and amend if desired, and if deemed feasible, to adopt a resolution ordering and calling a special maintenance and operation budget override election. So, this is if we want to go for a special override election. And do I have a motion for this? And our two options are to go for 10%, where everything would stay the same, and there wouldn't be any tax increase. And if we vote for, if we gonna go for a 15, the taxes would go up a little bit.
Can I ask Superintendent your recommendation here? And I know there's been a lot of discussions.
Yeah, I think that considering where we might want to go with capital in the future, I do think it is safe to stick with that 10%. Right, that is, we need that 10%. We would love to at some point maybe consider even up to 15. It wouldn't even have to be 15, 11, or 12. But I believe, Tammy, didn't we consider? Yeah, we want to consider a possible
10%.
Yeah, I think the 10% is the wisest.
Would be the safest, I think.
The safest, yes.
Because Negus is looking at a continuation as well. I think if we were both going out for a little bit more, it would be different.
They're staying flat too? Is that-
Yes.
From
they're
what
going
I
for the same amount, so
understand,
the
from what I
messaging is, that's the messaging
That's
piece.
the message.
Yeah, and I do think right now, if we want, because Paul Yulin is going out to survey the community, I think all we really need to do, correct me if I'm wrong, Jamie, Tammy, and Tricia, but is we would need to decide by May 8th if we wanted to go out for a special election, and I don't think right now we don't need to make the motion for 10 or 15. Am I correct? We can, right now, I think we're asking just if you want to go out for the override, and then we were gonna have an update from Paul Yulin in May. This month, he was going to work on surveying the community and all of that, and that'll give me time also to speak with Mingus and see what their intention was, and then come back in May and decide between the 10 and 15%.
I like that idea.
Or
Yes.
up to 15.
Okay, so tonight, we're just going to
Okay.
ask, vote if, to go for an override. Do I have a
But
motion?
not discuss the amount, not say the amount
We'll
yet.
save that
Okay.
for May.
Am I correct with that?
Yeah.
President Valenzuela, this is our legal counsel, Mr.
Okay.
Gael.
Hi.
Good to be here tonight to deal with Gus Rosenfeld. Yes, so I apologize. I was a little confused because I thought you might be taking action on the resolution, official action calling the election, so my confusion. The superintendent is correct. You do have more time. Looking at the county's calendar, which says June 10th is the, you need to let the county know prior, just with a sort of, hey, we are anticipating an election, which you can do after tonight, it sounds like. But June 10th is the county's deadline.
That they need to know the percentage.
Well, they need to know that you've adopted an election resolution.
Okay,
With the percentage in there.
okay.
So yes, you absolutely have time to
Okay.
wait for polling results, other considerations. From my perspective, the big issue is the ballots differ slightly. If you stick with 10%, it's just a renewal. And you get to say continuation. If you go 15% or any other amount, then you're looking at the ballot that says increase. So that's
scary.
that's the big issue.
That's scary. Okay.
Thank you for that clarification.
Thank you, I
Absolutely.
appreciate that.
And then at that point, you would also, I would assume, approve your pro statement. The board, as you may know, is entitled to submit not entitled, you're mandated by statute to submit an up to 200 word pro statement that you'll approve when you call the election.
Trish will take care of us on that.
We do have that as an agenda item this evening as well,
The pro statement?
the pro statement.
So this is, do I have a motion to approve the override? That we're going out for an override?
I'll make the motion that we move forward with an override election.
To notify the county and whatnot?
Notify the county.
Is that the correct
I guess.
motion?
Motion.
Okay.
Now, and we don't have to do the percentage tonight, though?
No.
Okay. Do I have a second? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank
Jack?
you
Thank you.
for that clarification.
Yes. Jack, did you hear?
This is my first go around with overrides.
I'm
I
not-
want to
I'm
make
not-
sure that, we.
We're not quite sure what we're doing here.
Right.
Yeah.
Yep, Jack was on there.
Okay, thank you.
One more question on that. There'll be another meeting where we'll be discussing how much we want to go out for and weighing those options. That's the idea.
Yep.
Thank you.
We have to do that in May, right? Because,
We can do that in May, and it sounded like Paul Yulin was going to use this month to survey kind of the community on the override and all of that. And also, I would like to have a conversation with Mingus Union High School, which I haven't had an opportunity yet, about their thoughts on the override, because I think it's important for COCSD and for Mingus to kind of be in the same ballpark with that right there for the community. We see the same kids and all of that, so.
okay. Now, Trish, am I not, 704 is the same as 703, right? To support the special maintenance and operation budget override election?
That is the item.
Let's see, 703.
That's the item on hold, right?
I think this is your,
That's what we just did, yeah.
this is your
This
statement.
is your statement of support, so this item would most likely be tabled until you
Tabled.
determine what your percentage.
Okay, so we'll table, we will table 704 until May.
Okay.
Okay. Number 8, board report. Miss,
Well, I've been doing a lot of soccer games, and also I attended the CCS Pi Day
Ooh.
in Miss Egan's class, and it was so awesome. And I stayed all day. Well, not all day. I stayed through Pi Day for 2 classes. It was an incredible amount of pie. I could not believe how much pie was in that classroom. And there were a couple kids that ate so much, they were like, look at my belly, I'm so full. But
Sounds
of
like
course,
a wonderful day.
Egan made it so special, but also just the learning that went on that day was very powerful. So it was a really fun event.
And I heard you had an awesome referee for your last soccer game.
Yes, we did. I thought you did great, and we won. So
yeah.
And you had,
I was willing to give it up to anyone.
Yes.
and
It's really handy having
about
that
your
ref.
daughter?
And Faye participated in the chef competition, which was awesome. And DDB was a wonderful host, and we had a great event. I mean, who can beat banana pancakes? That's what I want to know. That's totally impossible for any meal, right?
Yeah.
Okay, I haven't been anywhere. Darn. Okay, anybody else? Okay.
Been there, done
All
that,
right. Okay, the board report. We're gonna go over Friday, we're going on our conference. And then we have spring break. Teacher work day on the 2nd, governing board meeting on the 7th, and the last day of school is the 21st. And I cannot believe how fast we are getting there.
6.5 weeks after this week, I believe.
Wow.
It has been nuts.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, items for next month.
So we want the override back on
The
that.
override, we're gonna talk about the override. And then also you have here, the district audit. Okay?
And the pro statement
And the pro.
for on there. Yeah, well, we can go
And the
over that.
budget override, you said, the update on the budget.
We'll have a budget revision.
Budget revision, okay, if you'll have a budget revision for us, the audit and, okay, and the override.
I just have one comment.
Yes.
It sounds like we have a ton for May, and this can wait, but just in response to the safety concerns from the Clarkdale Jerome District.
Right.
And I know my children have reported having people come into the classrooms, which is awesome, to talk about safety and what to look for in a variety of ways, not just suspicious people. But again, I know I talk safety a lot, but just wondering if we could circle back on some additional strategies that we're doing, and maybe even just a report out on what those visits
Like a
are
safety
all about,
update.
and
Safety
if
update.
parents are aware that those are happening.
And that might be great timing also to, if we have information back from our audit. So from the Auditor General's office, they are going to be on campus next week, and they're going to walk through, I believe it's Verdi Tech and MVP. And it's different. The last audit they did was on operational plans. This audit sounds like it's operations in action and safety systems, protocols. So looking at that new safety plan, part of that is, for example, multiple modes of, how did they put that? And that's not how it was.
Systems of communication.
Systems of communication, so talking about Raptor, Mutual Link, all of that. And so Tricia just had an upload of documents, and then they'll be on site next week, and she will walk them through that. And Matt Dalton, principal SROs, and Parrish will also be part of that safety audit walkthrough. And we could probably have some sort of idea by that May meeting, since it's so close to right now.
And I'm fully supportive of the the physical, tangible things
Yes.
and like looking at structures and things like that. But I also think there's like the human element of all of this and
Yeah.
the communication with people and our
Right.
staff and our families and that. And I don't, you know, I'm not an expert in this, but
Right. Do you want an update on possible next steps also
yeah,
with that?
that's fine.
And how we're
Just being
communicating with
aware,
the
I guess, of
community?
that human
Right.
part.
I think maybe
Yeah,
just
that's
if
an
you
important part.
followed up maybe with something in the paper and even on our Facebook saying, okay, your schools are safe. These are the steps that we are taking,
Yeah.
just for your reassurance that they know that we haven't forgotten it and it's a one-step thing.
The
that
reassurance thing that's a
reassuring.
great word. for
Gotcha.
Is
Okay.
this something we would want Parrish to come in and talk about? Because I know he's done some things with the tech.
Do we want this to be our study session?
I think that would be a good idea.
Okay, because I don't believe we have a study session for
No.
me, do we, Tricia? Yeah, we can have Parrish,
And it would be
Matt,
good
Tammy, and I.
because you'll be through with it from the state, and then we could talk about
Yep.
it. But people need to know that we haven't forgotten about it. And
Right, and that human factor, I see that, because that's very important. Timely communication and just that we care, sort of,
and it's a follow-up on what Clarkdale's been through. and
Right.
It's again.
we learned a lot even just from our neighbor right there, a lot. So that was a scary situation for the
Yeah.
community. And I also can update the community through my COCSD column this next month for April. I'll work on that because we also have a round table coming up this month, I believe. So we will have a lot of updates for May. So if we make that our study session, I think that would be a full
study session.
study
Maybe-
session.
And I hate to say this, but maybe we can also throw in that about our override too.
Okay.
Just a little
Yes,
bit, just to
right.
let them know that we have an override coming up and it's very
Right.
important.
Right,
to keep our
correct.
program.
We even spoke about that as well, Tammy and I. That safety factor.
Okay.
We can do that. We can make that study session for May. We'll have some good updates, I believe.
Okay, we're going to go into executive session, but I'll give you, if you need 5 minutes to do your thing. And everybody else can leave. Thank you.
Yeah, thank y'all.
She said they hadn't seen each other for a week. So.
Yeah, I know. They meet every week, and they haven't seen each other. This is the first time this week, so they're wonderful to work with. They're cute.
We are extremely fortunate to have the people that we have.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, so now,
I've worked with a lot of admin in my life.
do I have a motion to approve,
Award superintendent.
to, offer Mrs. Vocca no, do we have to do that? Wait.
Don't do that.
No,
I'll make the motion
okay,
to award the superintendent's contract
Contract,
for the
yeah.
25-26 school year. And I just,
do we have to say the amount?
No.
Okay.
No, it's
that is all.
Well, it's-
Oh, Jack.
Jack seconded it.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Well, congratulations, Jess.
Good job, Jess.
We got you for 2 more years.
You get to do it again. Yeah.
Thank you, Jack.
Bye, Jack.
I'm very sorry for the mic issue.
Hey, you are having fun. You have fun for us.
Is he having bachelor's party or something?